1,992 days since Richard was forcibly removed by a code red. This is a code red, internal, in the military on Fort Bliss, forcibly removed from his barracks room because he was a whistleblower. They wanted to silence him. They took him to the basement. They took him to the basement room, which is the arms room. It's soundproof, and they took his life. And they stole his body off of Fort Bliss, and they trafficked him to Mexico. How did they do that? Well, this is the funeral fraud scandal, the funeral homes scandal. These were transnational funeral homes. This was um, in agreement or contracts with Fort Bliss, these mortuary operations. Um, so it's, of course, that's why there was a raid on Plenitude Crematorium. So it doesn't just mean it's Richard, it means that it was a network, that it had been going on for a long time, and that it was an infiltration, an evil infiltration, a criminal infiltration right there on Fort Bliss, endangering our national security, all of our service members and their families. And so this is ongoing. And this is why this is so important to get justice for. Yes, Richard was reporting on Fort Bliss's connections to the Walmart mass shooting. That is, we have given, oh my goodness, a mountain of evidence, um, that confirms what we say is right. And so, yes, and that was election tampering. That was directed towards President Trump and his campaign for 2020. We know that many very sinister elements in this whole investigation, and they are very sinister, seem to have connections. Well, they don't seem to, they do. Um, but that these connections lead to Beto O'Rourke. And it's like one right after the other. And we have documented that, and we have posted that. And why is that important? Well, because Beto O'Rourke was President Trump's opponent for the 2020 election. He was running to be president. He did not win the primary, but he absolutely was running to be president. And Biden won the primary. Um, this is, they wanted the White House, this criminal network, um, that have this border area, mutinous, that have infiltrated this border area, and of course Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. Chihuahua is the state of Mexico that is right over the border, that borders the United States, um, where El Paso is. And so, very, very important to know a lot about Chihuahua, who's the governor, who's the prosecutors over there, who's the law enforcement. And I can tell you right now, they are the Chapitos faction of the El Chapo, El Mayo, Sinaloa cartel, um, FTO, FTO. But many of these people that are Sinaloa cartel are dual citizens, or um, they have visas to live in the United States. They live in the United States. And of course, many of them are part of the Mormon faction of the colonies in Chihuahua. The biggest example of that is the Romney family, the Witten family, the Farnsworth family. Those are all part of the um, part of the uh, colonies. These are the names of the colonies that in Chihuahua that absolutely are dual citizen, and they operate on both sides of that border. And if you're like Farnsworth, yeah, that's the name that is a part of the Charlie Kirk's case. But it was part of our case. Farnsworth has been part of our case for years. And Connell Wetton is the FBI assistant SAC, the special agent in charge. I think he's been the special agent in charge um, uh, by default, or because, we've been through this is our third special agent in charge for the El Paso um, field office there. But he's been there all along, and he's probably been through six, seven, eight special agent in charge. He's been there for years. How can that happen? Because he leaked information. He leaked whistleblower information of our whistleblower in our son's case. He leaked our son's name to the cartel, putting a target on his back. But the Wentons are uh the like I think they're part of the founding families of the colonies in Chihuahua, Mexico. The families that were polygamous, which is a huge problem. A huge problem. Can you imagine if your dad is always trying to look for a girlfriend? Always trying to look for a girlfriend and another wife? Can you imagine your mother is always trying to look for another boyfriend? Always trying to look for another husband? It gets very, very messy, and the loyalties fracture. People say, "Oh, they're very loyal. They're very loyal." Well, maybe by business or by for crime's sake, for crime's sake. And I'm no expert on it, but the loyalties, the true loyalties that matter are not there. Are not there. No. It's just been so evil to have to read through everything that we have read through and what is going on. And clearly, the border has a huge problem. Trafficking anything that was not bolted down, including fuel. And of course, all the children trafficking, all the all of the worst type of crimes against children, all of the worst type of crimes against women. Think about La Diabla and these illegal C-sections targeting pregnant women, and then the organ harvesting on top of that. And then you have to get rid of the evidence, or you don't get rid of it. You want to profit off of it. This is how these people think. And then you have the funeral home industry that is committing the worst type of fraud, the worst type of scams. It's just so disgusting. You just can't even imagine. So it's just one crime after the other. And, the hearts, uh, the nooses, uh, being in law enforcement, being in mortuary operations. Um, yes, they absolutely had everything in place to do this to Richard. It was a code red, and they had everything in place in order to cover it up. But they didn't have God on their side. See, and God is revealing all of this all of this. He's exposing all of this because when you have the people in the universities, people in the hospitals, people in the FBI, people in DPS, people in the El Paso Police Department, the sheriffs, um, the CID, military police, in the JAG office, the JAG office, the JAG office. I don't mention the JAG office too often, but it's bad. Those that are in uniform with stars, where I'm talking about the flag officers, I'm talking about even four-star flag officers. When you have people in place at the ATF and the CPS and the DHS and um, DOJ, in the DOJ, when you have people in the Mexican Attorney General's office, when you have in the DA's office in El Paso and in the AG's office in the Western District of Texas office as a USA, when you have people that are generals like General John Kelly that are traitors that go and work for the governor of Chihuahua, Maru Campos, as security advisor, um, profiting off of unaccompanied migrants. I mean, when I say we have a mountain of evidence, we have a mountain of evidence. I'm not, I'm not like the mainstream media that lie, 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 lie. And we're seeing it today. Um, and let me play this for you because it absolutely. Let's see if I can play this for you. And you can see the lie, lie, lie. That is the ICE agent. That is the ICE agent that they, are saying, oh, he just kind of hit his hip like if you would do it on a refrigerator door or something. I mean, uh, you know, uh, I put up a post about, so let me turn this off. But look at this. This is a hit. Um, I mean, it's just shocking, and I posted it up. Um, and then, of course, there's other video that's just as shocking. And what am I talking about here? I'm talking about in Minnesota. I'm talking about Renee Nicole Ganger Shepherd. She has lots of names, and I like to say all the names. Um, um, if I can remember them. Uh, Ganger, Shepherd, what's the other husband's name? And then Good, then she just changed it to Good. Um, it'll come to me. But something is very stinky around that. Something is very fishy around that. The DOJ is looking into it. I've been getting a lot of information. Yes, I've seen the rap sheet. There is a lot of controversy around her rap sheet because the rap sheet is so bad. If that's exactly what her life was all about, then wow. But they're saying that that might be a different person. So let's let the investigators, um hopefully, we can't really trust investigators, but I think it's really the citizen investigator because they're the ones that are sending me all of this very good information that we go through and scrutinize. Of course, we've been in communication with um, the best of the best in the military, and just because I'm reporting on the infiltration of the military doesn't mean I don't support our military. Of course, I support our military. That's why we have to report on the infiltration of our military because it's putting all of our service members in danger, absolutely in danger. Because Richard wasn't the only one, right? Richard wasn't the only one. Richard was the only one that has this huge hero status because of the level of what he was reporting on and his bravery. But he is absolutely not the only one that has suffered through all this retaliation and lost their life for it. So, yeah, it's very it's really important to see how the media twists things, how they twisted things with Richard, and they still do. And they put out false narratives, and people read the false narratives and they just think that it's the truth, but it's not the truth. It absolutely is not. And I think we need to really support this ICE officer um, because he clearly was targeted. And there, it's a premeditated targeting. It seems like that has been confirmed because Renee, she went to become a monitor, right? And it seems like her mother's a monitor too. A monitor, what is that? Uh, to give ICE a hard time, to block ICE, to obstruct their job, what they're doing. Um, they don't want the illegals sent home. Why not? Why not? And the bigger question for us, what is very, very stinky, make sure that I have everything turned on. Um, is the response to it, the absolute support that this woman is getting, and I don't want to talk about that. Oh, it's a terrible thing that um, that she's no longer alive and how it all and because we all agree with that. We all agree with that. People might say, "Oh my gosh, she inserted herself and she found out, right? She inserted herself and she found out. You mess with the bull, you get the horn kind of attitude. But we are all like not happy about what has happened. But the problem is we've been invaded. We have this major problem with so many other victims that these invaders are criminals. Those that are criminals need to be removed and separated from our country. They need to go back to where they came from. And, and if we didn't have so many people blocking that, we wouldn't have this problem. So, this ICE agent, absolutely, they have. Uh, Day after day after day harassed and tried to obstruct the ICE agents and the jobs they have been doing. And so this is, to tease them, to mock them, to do everything. Um, this is what's been going on. So they are on high tension, right? High tension when they are doing their job and then terrible things like this happen. But he was absolutely protecting his life. That's what even Elon Musk said. Elon Musk, has a lot to lose if he goes against the population. But the evidence is so because that's his job, that's his business, right? If people start not liking him, but the evidence is so overwhelming that even he had to say that she tried to run him down and that this was self-defense and that he had internal bleeding. Um, he was really injured from this. And Elon Musk, I think he went as far as to say they're trying to get rid of take the lives away from ICE agents. He said it in a much firmer way. Um, yes, thank you, Laura, for coming on. Thank you for your prayers and your love and oh yeah, the peace of God that passes all understanding. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So, what does all these new developments say about this woman? Why are they protecting her so much? Okay, so we clarified that, okay, we all think it's terrible what happened. Absolutely. Um, but oh, the other question, let's keep questioning, right? Just because we came to an agreement on, okay, this is a horrible thing, let's keep questioning and say, who is this woman? Who is this woman that they are going to all lengths and millions of dollars to um, uh, to sanitize, to beautify, to try to turn her into a hero and a saint? Who is this woman that they're going all bat out crazy trying to defend? Um, and that is really the question because clearly the evidence says otherwise. The evidence clearly is on the ICE agent's side. Okay. Um, Clearly, he wasn't the one mocking and taunting and mocking. He wasn't. He was just doing his job. And so the evidence clearly um shows that he was in the right, that he was acting in self-defense. And so why is the media and the donors going all out to make this right attempted murder? Is that what that is? Um, Attempted injury on this ICE agent, right? Where he had to defend himself. I mean, who is she? Who is her family? Who are her connections? What are they bearing? What are they trying to hide with her connections? Because I believe her connections are military or connected, yeah, connected to the military. And so I think, there is something to really look into here. Really look into. And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. So the other thing is President Trump came out and was pretty upset with Bondi and Blanche. I have his name right. That they are not doing their job as Department of Justice, that they are, dragging their feet, that they are not going all out on these very volatile, political charged cases that they need to address because they have, uh, it's a national security issue. It's a national security issue. You can't have what happened to Richard happening. It would just totally destroy our military. So, yeah, President Trump went out criticizing Pam Bondi and Mr. Blanche, just slow walking. And President Trump wants charges out there. He wants arrests. He wants arrests. And he made that very clear in his speech. I think 2 days ago. Um, so that is really, really big news. And we're still trying to wrap our heads around it all to get all the information. So I just want to thank everyone for sending all the information to us and we're getting so much that it's really hard to respond, but we just want to say thank you so much to all of you. We couldn't do this without you, and it just can't be helped that sometimes we're coming on so late because um, it's breaking news every day, breaking news every day. And so, yeah, we just want to thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with us. So I will be back tomorrow, God willing. And thank you for uh, sharing this. Share, share, share.